early enough, but that might be putting a bit too much on his shoulders. MVP of this game gonna be going over to Chibi, finally returning to his signature Lancelot after a long lull, and what a return it is.
Again, the numbers don't do it justice, but here are the numbers: 60% kill participation, 817 gold per minute, match KDA 4, 4, and 5. But the kills that he got is on to Stormy. And this is one of those things that when you watch the highlights, when you watch the replays, then you understand why he
គាត់មានឆ្ងានប៉ុន្តែដែលហេតុថាធីមវាយណាគាត់ចោតចុះមកចោតចុះទេដោយសារនិមេរបស់រីរិតច្រើនខ្លាំងពេកគ្រូគីឌីមេគាត់មាននៅក្នុងហ្គេមមកគាត់មាន hash claw hunter strike តាមមិញគ្រូគីមានណាមានតែដោយសារតែ fail team fight ចឹងគ្រូគីក៏ត្រូវចេញដែរបាទឈរក្រោយស៊ី skill របស់ Bimo បើមិនចឹងទេ
good already.
Indeed, a lot of these deaths from Chibi did end up being because of the big burst from Balance, but you have to recall that a lot of the time, he was actually able to secure an objective before he died. And this is when you consider he's up against Subway on a Ballman, who should be able to claim most objectives without problem. Well, Chibi ends up dying, yes, he still gets them right before death, and that makes a lot of difference here, as we can see in these highlights.
Yes, looking at the highlight brought to us by Samsung Galaxy A series, where from the side of Homeboys, I think the best way to describe it is sloppy, because they're missing their skill shots, they're going into fights, ones that they really should not even be going into, but after getting the warm-up that they really need, Sampai as well as Chibi, they started to perform out of their minds in the game. Same can be said with Anip, and that comes with the criticism for the side of Orange. Look at this, every single time that aim goes in, it didn't get the setup that is needed for the side of Orange. If he got a lot of his skills down, actually connecting them onto Homeboys, I can see Orange Sport really destroying the game, because once Ruby collects everyone together, any kind of damage from Wesker is gonna hurt, and that is a big win condition. And look at this, Chibi from the side going in, managing to find Valence. So I kind of feel like Orange Esport, their frontliners, they need to step up a bit.
I feel like this fight specifically was a big turning point for the Homeboys, because this is a catch that the Orange Esports should have won. They funneled Homeboys into a line, and they have a lot of damage, but they were caught out unaware. After that, Homeboys were able to secure every single objective, and you realize it becomes a lot more difficult for Subway and Neo to just walk into the Homeboys, which is what they want to do, because they're afraid of allowing the crossbow of Tank to proc. And because of that, there's literally no member of Orange Esports that can comfortably initiate the fight, and that means that it's just completely free for the Homeboys to walk in and say like, we want to fight now, no matter what, you're not going to be ready.
So Safa, do you want to hear a horror story?
A horror story?
Yeah.
Alright, hit me.
Throughout the day, whoever wins the first game loses the series.
Ooh.
I mean,
that is horrifying.
That is horrifying. But what isn't horrifying is the new hero Predator. I mean, it depends. If you're using it, it's probably good for you. If you're fighting against him, it might be terrifying. The new hero will be available on the 12th of August. Okay, I just need to remember the month. Anyway, he is a tanky fighter. He has basically two types of HP. One is the normal HP and one is the gray one. In the gray period, you can get a lot of lifesteal. So this is one of those tanks that is played at the EXP and is going to have a lot of problems dying. Yeah. Did I describe it well?
It's very interesting to see it being described as having a lot of problems dying.
Yeah.
Right?
Uranus has a problem dying.
Yeah, I think
Namus
so.
has a problem
but
dying.
typically, you don't consider having difficulty dying to be a problem, unless you, of course, are on the opposite team, in which case it is a big problem.
It is a big problem. For those of you that need help, make sure you go to mental health coach. Shout out to mental health. Anyways, looking back at the game, aim needs to step up, because we didn't talk about it. If you manage to set it up, Stormy as well as Valence could have a very free game. But because he did not connect it onto anyone, he made it all the more difficult for the damage dealers to dish out the damage. Because again, at a competitive level, all 5 players need to do well. And Aim, the only reason why I'm really focusing on him because he is a veteran player and he's playing a very important role. The roam position is super important. Looking at the damage, Stormy did a lot, 71,000, same as Valence. Neo did 50,000. Looking at the side of Homeboys, Anim did 58, GB 44, Sapat 46. So we definitely see that Orange, they did more damage than what they really need. It's just that they need better setups. That's all that I'm asking for. And if Aim is not comfortable on Ruby, I hope for this game he gets a tank or support that he can perform even better with.
It does feel like AIM hasn't quite adjusted to the role yet, but it's not exactly the first time he has played a roamer either. I feel like